Assalamu alaikum. Hello, everyone. Hope you're all well, and thank you for joining the second series of the Learning Hub. My name is Lina Al-Atasi, and I'm the Head of Innovation at Oman Arab Bank. Over the next few months, we'll be running various workshops that are focused on promoting innovative thinking, enhancing your skill sets, and hopefully supporting you with your career journeys. These workshops will be announced via our social media pages and on our website. You can register for as many workshops as you like, and they're open to everyone. Today, we're excited to be joined by Ms. Ahid Zakwani from PhazeRO, who will talk to us about how we can apply design thinking to business strategy. If you have any questions during the presentation, please send them in the chat window, and Ahid will address them at the end of the session. Otherwise, you'll have the opportunity to ask your questions live at the end of the session as well. Ahid, over to you.
Thank you, Lynn, for the introduction, and hi, everyone. Welcome to Oman Arab Bank Learning Hub. I'm Ahid Zakwani, a UI UX specialist at PhazeRO, and today's session will be about applying design thinking to business strategy. Let's have a look to the agenda. So we will start with a story, Airbnb story, and then we will know together what is design thinking, what is business strategy, and what is design strategy. Then we will go through business model canvas, and we will have an example about this, and we will know how to implement it. After that, we will know what is primary market research, and we will know together how to conduct one effectively. Then at the end, we will know together what is prototyping and the meaning of prototyping and how to test your prototypes. So let's start with the story. So back in 2007, a design conference was held in San Francisco. As a result, hotels were overbooked. So what happened is Joe Gebbia and his flatmate, Brian Chesky, thought about having some guests in their flat. So they started with having airbeds on the floor, but then they thought that this is not enough. So they started thinking about their guests, what they want exactly, and what are their needs. So they thought about something about giving them tour guides, offering them breakfast, and even giving them some T-shirts that says, "I stayed in Airbnb. So thinking about this experience, thinking about the guests, about your users, this what we call design thinking. Here we can see Joe Gibbia in the center, and then Brian Chesky, and then Nathan Pleshizik, who joined then to be their technical architect or a developer. So since then, they worked as a team to deliver Airbnb. So again, the whole story addressed the meaning of design thinking, but in definition, it's just a methodology or process used to solve problems. How do you solve these problems? By putting yourself in users' shoes. And that's really important, along with ideation and brainstorming to gain enough insights to deliver a solution. There are multiple processes for design thinking. There is IDEON, we have also double diamond process. So as you can see, it's called double diamond because there are two diamonds. The first diamond represents the problem and the second represents a solution. So to start with, you start with the problem and you need to empathize. So empathizing means that you have to have enough information about the problem. So we can see the diverge that happens. This is as a result of gaining these informations from questionnaires, from surveys, from user interviews. But then after that, after having all this information, you need to focus. So you start to eliminate the findings and apply affinity mapping and ideation process in order to reach the center of the two diamonds. Here, when you reach the center, you can say that you have a problem statement. So from here, it's the time to find a solution. So again, you will see the diverge again, where you will have design workshops, brainstorming workshops, many people, different background, everyone with a different idea, with a different point of view. So this explains again the diverge that happens. But again, you can't consider everything. So you need to focus on a solution. So again, the fourth stage, which is validate and test, it's an iterative process. So you start with the solution, you assume that this is a solution, but you don't know if it's a solution or not unless you test it and validate it. So you validate it with potential customers, with real people. If it doesn't work, then it's the time to go again and sketch it and then test and validate till you reach to the optimum solution. So as we can see here, you start with a problem, and then at the center, this is the problem statement, and at the end, you will have the solution. All right, so some people might ask, what is the relationship between business and design? So up until recently, business was something and design is something else. So designers mainly are responsible for making things look pretty. But here a quote that I like from Steve Jobs, where he says that design is not just what it looks and feels like, design is how it works. And this is true. Right now, designers are not just responsible for making things look pretty, but also are responsible to make things work correctly. So it's really important to design for retention for your products. In order to be a successful product, it has to be sticky. Sticky means that whenever a new product come into the market, people will still like your product in specific. So here we have a study that showed that increasing customer retention by as little as 5% can lead to an increase in profits of 25 to 95%. And I'd say that this percentage is really high. But then another study shows that 40% of customers come back a second time. So this is a challenge. You have only 40 customers that come back, and coming back doesn't mean that they perform a task or accomplish something. So the question that we have here, how might we increase customer retention for the product that we have? And this not through people in business, not for people in marketing. The ones who are responsible for this are designers. So here, for example, people sign up and log in, but only 40% actually come back the second time. So the solution might be just creating an effective onboarding strategy. Make it easy and make it fast. I say easy and fast because it's really hard to grab people's attention. So whenever it's too lengthy, they will just run away to your competitor to find something that is easier for them. Another approach that you should consider is using mental model. Mental model is basically, let's say that you are planning to have a research feature, a search feature in your product or your service or your platform. Just make sure that this works like how Google works, because people use Twitter, they use Facebook, they use these social media accounts, they go into different websites. They expect your product or your platform to work as the other websites. Just make sure that we're not creating something from scratch. You are just building up on the solution that multiple platforms came across before you. Some people will think like, well, yes, but I'm creating a whole new experience. My platform or my product is unique. Then I'm sorry to tell you, but this is totally wrong. You have to follow the global standards. Business strategy is a master plan that the management of a company implements to secure a competitive position in the market, carry on its operation, and please customers, and achieve the desired ends of the business. So basically, it's just a plan with set of goals that you'd like to achieve in order to please your customers or even your employees. So then here we say that we already know what is design thinking, we know what is business strategy, but what is then design strategy? Design strategy is basically using design thinking in order to accomplish business goals, like Joe Gebbia and his flatmate did. This what is called design strategy. Business model canvas for Airbnb. Business model canvas is basically a representation for your business plan. It can be documented in a number of pages, but it's always a good idea to have it in front of you so you cover everything in a glance. So it consists of 9 different sections. The first one is key partners, which is the third party or different people or different parties that will allow you to deliver your product. For Airbnb, for example, they have their investors to help them. They have photographers, travel agencies, and hosts. The second section, key activities, is set of actions that you have to undertake in order to deliver value to your customers. So here, for example, they have to maintain a platform and provide customer support. These are the key activities that they have to take into consideration. The third section, which is key resources, it's what you need exactly in order to make your product live. Do you need tools, equipment, employees, developers? For Airbnb, for example, they have a community of hosts and guests, and these make Airbnb work. And then the fourth section is value proposition. This is the value of your product, what makes you different than any other product in the market. So here you have to eliminate the pains of your customers and give them value to allow them to use your product in specific. For Airbnb, it's very, very simple to use, and you can simply book an accommodation through it. And another benefit that it provides that it's allow you to live like locals. For some people, this is an incredible opportunity that they would like to live. And then competitive prices, comparing with hotels, it's much cheaper than living in a hotel. Customer relationships. What are the ways that you will communicate with your customers to know what they think and what they want from your products? For Airbnb, it's customer support, for example. Then we have channels. Channels are the ways that will allow you to deliver your product to your customers. How could they know about your product? Social media, maybe marketing, maybe from people around them. And then we have customer segments, your personas, and we will know together what is a persona later. So for Airbnb, it's guest and host. Each one of them have different set of goals and behaviors, and they have to take each one of them into consideration in order to make Airbnb work. Then we have revenue streams. They get cash from booking fees. So for a guest, they will take around from 5 to 15%. And if you are a host, they will take 20% of the fees. And at the end, since we have revenue, definitely we have a cost. They pay for development and for marketing as well. So applying business model canvas is really important to identify some gaps. So whenever you apply it or implement it, you will know that there are some gaps that you have to fill in or to cover. So design thinking is the right methodology and the right process that you will have to use in order to cover these gaps. So what was the gap in Airbnb business model canvas? So back in 2009, Joe Gebbia and his flatmates were getting $200 as a revenue. And then he discovered a pattern in the listings in New York City. So when he examined and see the pattern, he tried to ideate and brainstorm for a solution. The thing that the listings had very bad resolution images, something like this. So people usually don't like bad resolution images. So he thought of traveling and meet hosts and hire a photographer to take high resolution images. This simple step made their revenue jump from $200 a week to $400 a week. So again, this is a very small thing that they had to do, and from there, they know that they are on the right track. So what is primary market research? It's about you going to your potential customers and talk to them what they think, ask them about their problems and the possible solutions that you have. Again, you are not assuming, you have to research and know from your potential customers what they want exactly. So from here, you can know that is this a headache or is it a migraine that you are trying to solve? You can do this through surveys, questionnaires, or user interviews, for example. The difference between qualitative and quantitative research. So a quantitative method is focused on numbers. So as you can see here, someone grabs an ice cream and someone or a researcher says that only 1 in 30 take the free ice cream because that's what they're concerned about, numbers and data. And then we have qualitative methods. We can see a researcher asking, what did you feel when you saw the free ice cream? And then the customer says excited and scared. And then the researcher asking then again about behavior and their feelings. For qualitative method, just make sure that you are asking open-ended questions. Don't ask about your product in specific. How do you think about this product? They will probably lie. And you will end up having false information. So just give them a chance to express their feeling and ask about problems, not your product in specific. So this is the difference between qualitative and quantitative research. Persona is a fictional representation of a customer, someone who has a demographic information along with goals and scenarios and their behaviors and what they like and dislike. We use this so we can understand customers better and we know what are they expecting from us exactly? So here we have an example of persona, image, and name, set of goals and demographic information, and scenario as well as codes. Again, we are using this to have empathy towards our customers, so we can know them better and we can deliver something that can be usable for them. Ideation is the most interesting activity in design thinking. It's where people from different backgrounds sitting together, where everyone give a different solution. So this is on the second diamond, so since we are talking about solution. Everyone will talk about the solution, provide different inputs and different point of views. And it's really important to add how might we to each problem that rises. For example, if you want to increase revenue, for example, you can ask how might we increase revenue, and then from that you will get different answers, and you can go with one answer to test and validate. And then we have prototyping. Prototyping is developing a representation of the solution to test and validate later. So about this, there are things that you have to avoid when you create your first prototypes. Just don't get too much invested in the first prototype, since it could be just an assumption and it will change at the end. So don't invest too much time, and don't assume that you know everything, because you don't. And then don't be a serial pitcher or idea explainer, because if you do this, that means that your sketches are not clear enough and people don't understand it. So let them understand and go through the whole journey by themselves. Don't explain everything, and when you see that they ask some questions and they need clarification, it means that you are not doing it right and you have to redesign the sketches again. Fear of failure, it's totally fine that it doesn't work from the first time, because again, you will learn from your customers, and from your learning, you will redesign a new sketch, and that's totally fine. There are different types of prototypes. We have sketches. These are low fidelity prototypes. We have wireframes. And then we have high fidelity prototypes. So high fidelity prototypes are the ones that we deliver to developers, but you can test and validate either sketches, like low fidelity prototypes, or wireframes, or even mockups. So it's totally fine to test any one of them. So the key takeaways from this session, we now know what is design thinking, what is business strategy, and what is design strategy. And we now know how to apply principles of design thinking to establish or know either this problem exists or not. And then we know how to have a persona and to identify if this problem exists or not. And at the end, we understood different types of prototyping and knew what are prototypes. So thank you everyone for attending this session. I'm open for any questions or thoughts.
Thank you, Ahid. We'll allow the participants to ask questions. You can either raise your hand, and we'll give you an opportunity to ask your question live, or please feel free to post them in the chat window, and Ahid will respond to them. Sarah, you've got your hand raised. Did you want to ask a specific question? Okay, lower your hand. All right, well, whilst our participants gather up their questions, I wanted to ask you, Ahid, based on your experience and knowledge, what are some of the biggest pitfalls that you've seen when it comes to design thinking when developing solutions?
So it's about assuming that you know everything, but at the end, you don't really know. Sometimes you see from background research or competitive analysis, and you think that you understand the solution, but at the end, it turns out that you don't understand. So you have to engage more with clients and with potential customers as well.
Okay, and what advice would you give innovators in the chat or here on in this session in terms of what are the best practices when it comes to design thinking? How can they start small, and what they need to keep in mind when developing their solutions?
So again, design thinking is a process to solve problems. It's not just like, let's say, technical problems or about software. It's any kind of problem. So start with understanding the problem in different aspects, and then have a problem statement, and then go through multiple solutions, and then pick the one that is considered as the optimum solution.
Great. Thank you very much. So are there any other questions? I think we've just received a few comments in the chat window. Great. I'll just give them another few seconds. If not, then thank you so much, Ahid. That was very clear. The flow was very smooth, and you've given really good examples on how design thinking could be applied. Obviously, this is an introductory session, but we look forward to other sessions where we deep dive into the various concepts. Farouk has a question. What about the risks when starting a business? Risk of failure, for example.
So the good thing about design thinking, whenever that there is an idea that won't really work, you think that it will work, but then you go and ask potential customers. The good thing about design thinking is you engage with your customers. So from them, you will know what will work and what will not work. And from that, you can modify your hypothesis or your assumption. So the risk is really low when it comes to design thinking, because you engaged your customers, you are not taking any assumptions, and everything is clear for you.
And sometimes it's quite surprising when you're running these focus groups. Customers tend to have a lot more insight into what solutions they want. It could drastically change the direction of your solution sometimes, or it gives you new ideas to build on and to scale. So it's always important, as you said, to keep in touch with the customer and to continue to engage them throughout the design process.
Exactly.
All right, thank you so much, Ahid. Really appreciate your time. Thank you to Fizro once again for contributing to our Learning Hub sessions. We look forward to welcoming all our innovators back into upcoming sessions. We have a session running almost every week over the next few months. For more information about our workshops, please visit our social media pages and our website, or feel free to get in touch with us. Thank you so much for attending, and thank you, Ahid, once again.
Thank you so much, everyone.